To day 3 of Highlands, postcards from the finish line. And remember, stop your cramp, not your race. My name is Bob Babbitt, and we're also brought to you by Polar. Chase your destiny, one of the legends of the Boston Marathon, and one of our favorite people on the planet. Mr. Dick Hoyt joins us. Dick, great to start day 3 with our main man. How you doing?
Very well. It's great to start the morning with you.
Is it hard knowing tomorrow's a marathon and you personally aren't running?
No, not now. You know, this is the 3rd year now, so I'm getting used to it. And I have 2 other sons, so today I'm going to spend part of the day or most of the day with them because all these other years it's been just Rick and I. You know?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Was that hard? I mean, because you think about it for the other kids, obviously Rick was a child with special needs.
Right.
And you spent a lot of time, and then you're traveling the world doing all these races. Did your other kids feel a little left out sometimes?
You know, when Rick was younger and we first started Rick, we had to spend more time with Rick and not with the 2 of them. And especially the middle child,
yes.
He come up and he says, Dad, he says, you have to spend so much time with Rick and all of that, and I never get to see you and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
So what we did is we included the whole family with everything we did. In other words, everything that I did with the other 2 boys, I did with Rick, and everything I did with Rick, I included the other 2 boys too. And they love it. You know, we used to go camping in campgrounds, and, you know, they have these big pools at the campgrounds, and we'd take Rick and throw him in the pool, you know, and he'd look up at everybody and start laughing, and everybody else is freaking out at the pool. And then one of the other boys would jump in and pull him out of the water, or I would do it, you know?
Yeah.
But we did everything with
Everything
Rick
as a family.
As
Everything
a family.
together.
Everything together.
I love that.
Yeah.
So when you look back, and especially with Boston, here you are, you know, you're in Boston. You're a Boston guy. When you first started running, you know, 4-mile run for the charity, for the hockey player at first, then you decided, I want to run Boston. You're in Boston.
Right.
And what did they tell you?
They told me no, I couldn't run in Boston. Yeah.
Because you were in your 40s. Rick's in his 20s.
Right.
They're saying, if you want to run, you can qualify, but you got to use Rick's age.
Rick's age to qualify, that's right. Yeah, that meant we had to run under 2 hours and 50 minutes.
And you're pushing, at that time, your jogger was how heavy?
Oh, geez, it was unbelievable because we had to build these chairs ourselves.
Nobody had anything like that. It's not
Nobody
like
had
baby joggers hadn't been invented yet.
And Rick was in one of these electric chairs, you know, and stuff, and it was so heavy, and we had to push him in that in our first few races before we were able to get somebody to help us out to build what we call running chairs.
I love that. So what do you think it weighed when you, like, even Marine Corps Marathon, when you ran sub 250, how heavy was that chair?
That chair was probably about 50 pounds itself, yeah.
And then Rick's 130-ish?
Oh, he was about 125, yeah.
And then, that's amazing. And you ran 245.
245, 23.
23. And then you come to Boston. And at that point, were they welcoming because you'd qualified?
Yes, after that, you know, they qualified. You know, at first, it was, you know, Rick was in his 20s, I was in my 50s. And
50s,
I thought that was their way of getting rid of us.
Right.
Because they said there's no way a 40-year-old man could push his 20-year-old son in a wheelchair and run under 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Right.
So that's why we went down to the Marine Corps Marathon and did the 245.
And what was that first Boston Marathon experience like for you?
Oh, it was just unbelievable because we're the first ones to ever do it. And people are looking, what's this? What's this? What's going on? You know? And then the next year, everybody was there to support us.
Right.
And so it didn't take us that long, you know, before people recognized what we were doing and trying to do.
And how many did you guys end up running together?
Rick and I ended up running 32 Boston marathons together.
And I know 13 was going to be your last one.
Right.
And then the bombings.
Yes.
So you came back in 2014. How special was that to make that your last one with Rick?
That was very special because, you know, we were told for the last 5 years that Team Hoyt, you guys are the Boston Marathon.
Right.
You know, and
after not wanting you there.
That's right. And the people had signs all the way and everything else. And so we ended up running that last marathon with like the whole Team Hoyt organization. And we stopped 35 times and went into the crowds that had the signs and stuff. And we were hugging, you know, people, and they were all crying and everything else. And then along the way, we'd see some people in wheelchairs, and we'd go over and talk to people in wheelchairs and everything else.
Very
and to
cool.
see, you know, that whole team finish the Boston Marathon together. It was just unbelievable. That's my favorite picture.
You know, what's fascinating to me is really you were at the epicenter of saying, yeah, my child's got a challenge, but he should be like everybody else and be able to do anything that he wants to do.
Yeah.
Now when you see all these athletes, these amputees and wheelchair-bound folks who are going to the Paralympics and are getting Nike sponsorships, you must be proud.
Oh, I'm very, very proud. It's just unbelievable. You know, you think back to that doctor when Rick was born. You forget him, put him away, put him in an institution. Gonna be nothing but a vegetable for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And now here he is, you know. And he's graduated from high school, graduated from college, and he got the Distinguished Graduate Award from Boston University.
Yes.
And he's competing all over the world. You know, we competed at Ironman Canada, Ironman Germany, in Japan, and everything else. And one of the biggest things was when we went to Japan, they have children like Rick that are physically challenged, but you don't see them out in public.
No, they hide them.
They hide them. They call it closet them, you know?
Yes.
So in 1995, Japan sent two of the biggest TV stations over here and did a documentary on Rick and I. And now you see kids like Rick living, learning, working, and playing just like everybody else.
I love that. Well, and then the other thing you see is there's obviously a lot of people who have children who want to do what you do,
Exactly.
right? They want to push them in a marathon. How many people will you have running here this weekend or Monday?
There's going to be a total of about 35 people running for
Wow.
the foundation.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and right now we have Team Hoyt Foundations in San Diego, Texas, Arizona, Coeur d'Alene, Virginia Beach, Canada, and New England.
Would you ever have thought that?
Never. And there's a big movement going across the United States. And now they're even starting to build Team Hoyt running chairs.
I saw the chairs, yes.
Yeah.
I bet they're a little lighter than what you pushed at the Marine Corps.
Lighter, and yes, yeah, I think they can go a little faster than what Rick and I were doing. So now all the people are out setting their goals that are pushing to try to beat our records, our time records, you know, for the marathons and the triathlons.
So here you were, not really invited to participate here at Boston. You qualify and kicking and screaming the night of your race. Yeah. Now there's a statue of you on the course.
Yes, there is.
That's like the ultimate payback, right? It's like, okay, you tell me I can't do something, we're not only going to do it, we're going to become as known through this event as anybody from Joan Benoit to Bill Rogers, Dick and Rick Hoyt are right up there with the biggest names that have ever come out of this event. And you have a statue on the course.
Yes, that's right. You know, we're very fortunate to have John Hancock as our sponsor.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that provided this statue down at the starting line in Hopkinton. And it's just unbelievable for that. And they have these miniature-sized statues, and one's in Logan Airport, and John Hancock has one there. And it's just amazing. And we have to thank John Hancock, really.
So when they unveiled that statue, you and Rick were there, I'm guessing.
Yes, it was in the year 2013, and unfortunately it was the year of the bombing, you know, and we had a big ceremony down there in Hopkinton, and it's like Hopkinton has adopted Team Hoyt, you know, in their town.
Of course.
All the people that love us, and we've spoken to all the schools in Hopkinton and everything else, and we spoke to kindergarten kids in Hopkinton for 1 hour, and the principal of the school and teachers come up and said, these kids have a kindergarten, not one of them said a word, and not one of them had to go to the bathroom for a whole hour.
An hour?
For an hour.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't go an hour without. So, Boston is great, but what really I think helped put the Hoyt brand on the map was Ironman, right?
Definitely, yeah.
And when you first started thinking about, okay, Rick and I want to try something new and do this triathlon thing, I know it probably started with one of Dave McGilvery's races.
Exactly.
And then when you first tried to figure this out, okay, we got to pull Rick in a boat. That's problematic. We got to find a boat that's not going to be too heavy, right? And it's not going to take other people out. And we don't want people hanging on the back of it, so I don't want to pull them along.
Well, that's happened a couple of times.
It has, right? I've seen people hanging on the back of the boat. Yeah. What the heck? You're a strong guy.
Yeah, but maybe they had some problems and they needed to hold on to that boat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But designing the boat was one thing. Designing the bike, finding something that you can take 130-pound Rick and basically on the handlebars, right? You had about a 400-pound rig, you think, between the bike, you, Rick?
Yeah, it was close to 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Because at that time, I think I was a little bit heavier than I am now.
Right. More muscle.
Yeah.
So when you're riding out towards Javi, not only are you riding in the headwinds, right? And have to try to keep this thing upright with 400 pounds. You're also feeding Rick.
Right.
You're also making sure you got sunscreen on him.
Exactly.
You know, you're responsible for 2 people.
Yeah.
How hard was that?
You know, at first it was difficult, but then it became easier, you know, as we kept doing triathlons and
Right.
stuff. Because actually you got to hold on to the handlebar with one hand. Then I got to reach around with the water bottle and find his mouth and squirt. Matter of fact, it was so funny. The first Ironman we did out in Hawaii, they had a helicopter zooming down on us. And at the time I was giving Rick some drink, and it was Gatorade, and it went all over him. And that was only 35 miles into the bike. So he had to spend the rest of the day like that, including the run.
That is
See,
funny.
everybody says, "Oh, Rick's just getting a free ride."
No,
I don't think so.
No. Rick's not getting the free ride.
Right.
What now? Do you know what your fastest marathon was in Kona?
In Kona, I think it was 3:30.
That's unbelievable. At the end of the Ironman.
At the end of the
See,
Ironman.
you probably now you'd qualify for Boston in Kona running the marathon.
Yeah.
So now, Rick, in terms of the Team Hoyt, is that full time for you now, trying to just grow the charity and grow what you guys are doing?
Yes, it is full time, but I am a motivational speaker now too.
Yes.
And I travel all over the world.
How fun is that?
It's a lot of fun, but we've raised a lot of money for
Yes.
a lot of good charities. You know, Rick was very much involved in Easter Seals programs
Yes.
when he was very much younger.
Uh-huh.
And we've been able to raise over $1 million for them.
For Easter Seals.
For Easter Seals. And in the last year and a half, through our speaking engagements, we were able to raise over $1.5 million that went to all nonprofit private organizations.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of the mothers of one of our Challenge Athletes Foundation kids who's a double above knee amputee. And she was telling me that a mom came up to her at a swim meet, and she was like, I feel so bad for you. Your poor son is missing both his legs. And she was like, my poor son has been to England. He's been to Spain. He's been all over the world. He's probably grown up quicker and is more mature than other kids his age, because every time he comes out of the house, people stare at him, and he needs to be able to talk about what is going on with his body.
Yeah.
Have you found that more and more people are understanding, my child's different, but different isn't necessarily a bad thing?
That's right. It isn't. And it's starting to happen all over the world, where people are accepting people who are physically challenged.
Yes.
It's amazing what's happening with all these different organizations and people calling us up and stuff, And Rick, he can't talk, but he communicates with a computer system.
Right.
And he works with Children's Hospital here in Boston. And he's been working with them in the communication enhancement programs for 28 years. And we get emails, and they do, from people all over the world looking for communicating devices. And this young man that's been working with Rick, his name is John Costello, he answers every one of those emails.
Wow.
And he does it on his own time.
I love that.
Yeah.
So this year, you guys are going back to Kona.
Yes, we are.
You're not racing.
No,
but Rick is.
Rick is, yeah.
Now, who's going to be his guide?
We got this. His name is Bryant Lyons, and he's a local dentist from Billerica, Mass. And he's just a great guy, and he's already done two Boston marathons with Rick, and he's done 2 half Ironman triathlons. Okay. And they are training right now, and they will be going out there this October to do the Ironman triathlon.
That's going to be fun.
If you know, Rick and I are still the only ones in the world to ever be able to complete the Ironman triathlon.
I know.
And other people have tried it, but they can't make the cutoff times.
No, and it's funny because it makes you realize how hard it is. Last year I was watching Jeff and Johnny Agar, and they were going up the first Plani. I mean, it's brutal when you're trying to figure out, is it better to have the athlete or the person you're pulling behind you, in front of you on the bike? Because it's behind you is a lot of weight, on front of you is a lot of weight and headwind. Right. Figuring that out, it's still nobody's come up with a real solution yet.
No, they haven't. I like Rick to be in front of me because I can talk to him, and then I can hydrate him. Now, when they're pulling behind, sometimes the chair may be back kind of far, and when the wind's blowing, you know how it blows out there. And it hits the biker, then it goes over them and hits the person in the chair. But then when he wants to get hydrated, he's got to stop and get off and go back and hydrate.
And start from scratch with potentially another 400-pound rig.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow.
And that cuts your time frame.
No question. Yeah, because the key is, and something you've always wanted, and something we've always wanted for our challenge athletes, we didn't want anything besides the rules. If the rules were you had to finish by 5:30 in the afternoon on a bike, we wanted a level playing field. We wanted our athletes, you guys, to get done by 5:30 in the afternoon, or else, it's like an able-bodied athlete doesn't count.
That's right. Yep.
And you guys did that.
Right.
And so that's important. And that 5:30 in the afternoon, man, that's something that you see the clock ticking.
That's right. Yeah, it is.
Is there a chance that Rick and Brian could go faster than you guys went? Can he take your time down?
I'm hoping that they can take our time down. Brian is a very strong swimmer, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised, and even the pros, because he's going to be 5 or 10 minutes behind the pros, I feel, in the swim.
Oh, so he's going to be like under an hour, probably.
Well, I think he's going to be like, right now I'm predicting an hour and 5 minutes.
Okay, 1:05. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fast.
Well, that's important.
That's
he's
very
need all
important.
That time to get under the bike cutoff.
Get under the bike cutoff, exactly.
Because once you've made the bike cutoff time, then it's a little bit of gravy.
It is, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Hey, Dick, congrats on everything you're doing.
Well, thank you very much.
It's always great to come to your town here. And get a chance to chat. And it's good we do it early, because it'll be crazy over at the Team Hoyt booth. For anybody who's in town, you'll be at the booth for how long today?
I'll be here all day.
All day?
The last 2 days we've been there all day.
Wow.
And the people have been just so awesome. I mean, there's lines of people up
there.
I
know. See, look
mostly they just want to get pictures of Rick and I and stuff.
I love it.
And we do have books for sale and stuff like that. But I think it's greeting the people and having the
people want to they want to make sure that they know that person that they've seen so much about and read so much about, because you've changed a lot of lives. Besides changing Rick's life, all these parents who felt, what do I do with my son? What do I do with my daughter? Now they have something they can do. And they don't need to do an Ironman. They can go to a 5K. They can go to a 1 mile walk. Just doing something
just being out there.
As a father-son or father-daughter.
And also trying to get them educated.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a priority too.
Love it.
Yeah.
Dick, thanks as always.
Thank you.
Dick Hoyt, my main man, has been our guest. And again, this is Highlands Postcards from the Finish Line. Stop your cramp, not your race. We're also brought to you by Polar. Chase your destiny, which is what Dick and Rick Hoyt do every single day of their lives. Hold on, everybody. We will be right back.
Thank you.